The gentleman from Oklahoma is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume. If we defeat the previous question, I will offer an amendment to the rule to bring up H-Res 11 for immediate consideration. This resolution proposes an amendment to the Constitution of the United States to require the Supreme Court of the United States to be composed of 9 justices. Madam Speaker, the Supreme Court has been set at 9 justices for 153 years. Fundamentally changing the composition of the court to satisfy the demands of one political party would permanently erode the independence of the judicial branch and forever alter the separation of powers, which is the very foundation our Constitution and our nation were built upon. The independence of the judicial branch is too sacred to subject it to the political issue of the day. The appointment of a Supreme Court justice is not a popularity contest, and the court's decision should not be based on polls. The Supreme Court's duty is to the Constitution and ensuring adherence to the laws of the land. To further explain this amendment, I yield 5 minutes to my very good friend, the author of the joint resolution, Mr. Johnson of South Dakota.
Gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
I thank the gentleman, and I thank leadership for making my bill a priority on the floor today. We've heard from a number of earlier speakers that recent Supreme Court decisions have upset the majority. These are decisions that they disagree with. Now, these are judicial decisions that were rendered under rules that have been in place for more than 150 years. But there seems to be a growing force of people who want to change the rules. If we didn't get the decision we wanted under the rules that have been in place since 1869, then let's go ahead and change the rules. Let's go ahead and pack the court. If we can't, if 9 justices doesn't get what we want, then let's add 2. Well, maybe 2 more justices doesn't get us what we want. Let's add 4. That's right. Maybe we can get with 4 justices the kinds of decisions we want. And, Madam Speaker, this is not a hypothetical boogeyman. This is an actual pending legislation introduced by none other than the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. An active attempt to pack the court with 13 justices. Now, you might ask, Madam Speaker, is 13 the right number? Does 13 come about because there's been some report or some analysis that 13 justices would make the work of the court more productive? Or perhaps the Supreme Court itself, the justices, have indicated that they would do a better job with 13. No. It does not come about because of any independent analysis or request by the court. This attempt to pack the court is all about power. It's all about power. It's all about getting the kinds of decisions that the House majority wants. Madam Speaker, I would submit then that when Washington changes the rules only to acquire power, or only to maintain power, it undermines public trust in these institutions that bind Americans together. We don't need yet a further undermining of these institutions. And frankly, where does it end? Once this body establishes that the size of the court can grow only so that we can secure the preferred judicial decisions of the House majority, where does it end? Y'all take it to 13. A few years later, we take it to 15. You can take it to 17 after that. Again, this is not a hypothetical boogeyman. We have seen this happen in other countries. Madam Speaker, this leads to madness. This is no way to run a judiciary. Now, you don't need to take my word for it. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, before her death, made it clear that packing the court would undermine and erode public trust in the Supreme Court. She was stridently opposed to it. Retiring Justice Stephen Breyer feels the same and has publicly been opposed to packing the court. This is not something that only Republicans oppose. It's something that reasonable, like-minded people who care about the independence and the trust and the public trust of the court have opposed as well. And so that's what my bill would do, my resolution would do. It would simply put into the Constitution what has already been the case since 1869, and that is 9 justices on the Supreme Court. I guarantee you, Madam Speaker, that we will still find plenty of political screws to turn and leverage points for us to be able to fight and advance our political causes. But if we can just put into the Constitution this one thing, to keep the 9, we will be able to at least somewhat insulate the court from the most corrosive political maneuvering that we know that this body is capable of. Now, I'd make it clear, a no vote on the PQ, which I'm urging, does not submit this constitutional amendment to the states. All it does is allow this body 1 hour to debate the merits of keeping the 9. What possible argument could there be against taking that 1 hour for us to discuss together what the right size of the court is and how do we best maintain public trust in the court going forward? And so, Madam Speaker, I ask my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to heed the words of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Stephen Breyer, Joe Biden, and so many of us on this side of the aisle to consider keeping the 9. And with that, I yield back.